Well, Janice, the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development releases its take on the Australian economy every 18 months. But given the timing of this one, ahead of the federal election and the start of a major housing downturn, it's gained a lot of attention. It's complimentary about the strength of the general economy, namely exports and the labour market, and says life is good with high levels of health and education. But it's warned of a climate change policy still lacking clarity and stability, the need for tax reform, the disparity between Indigenous Australia and the rest of the population, and a risk of a hard landing in the housing market. Australia's economy has been the envy of the world.
With 27 years without a dip in annual GDP, this is truly exceptional.
The OECD says demand for the nation's commodities has helped to sustain growth while the labour market has been resilient, but says headwinds exist as the housing market cools.
The price adjustments have been relatively small, and so we think we're probably in for a soft landing. However, there is a risk of a hard landing.
It's recommending regulators prepare contingency plans for a possible significant correction in the housing market. Today, though, a hint of stability with a surprise rise in the number of owner-occupier home loans approved in the month of October, with the share of first-time home buyers hitting a 6-year high.
Certainly that would suggest perhaps that households are being fairly resilient in the face of falling home prices, and in fact affordability is improving, maybe encouraging some people to take out a home loan, and if of course they are of a good credit quality.
Ahead of the federal election, the OECD says budget repairs should remain a priority.
There's no room for complacency when it comes to the budget or to the economy.
We promised to bring the budget back into surplus, and that's exactly what we're doing.
It adds socio-economic challenges persist.
We suggest that the Indigenous communities should be given greater say and steerage in how policies are designed and implemented.
With substantial gaps between Indigenous Australians and the rest of the population narrowing too slowly. State governments are being urged to take greater action in health, housing and education.
Actually have their local departments, the bureaucrats out there working with them, and they've got to, and the ministers have got to get out there as well. And that's got to be done at all levels, state and federal.
Strategies to help those vulnerable from being left behind by globalisation and technological change are also being recommended.
It would be good to see more stability and strength to climate change policy, and it would also be good to see some progress in the sort of tax reforms that we envisage.
Namely, lifting the GST, which at 10% it calls comparatively low, to fund the removal of less efficient taxes.